Hi, I'm Cathrine Davis. I'm an extern here at Jamestown this year. I am a PhD student at William & Mary, and I'm a historic sigillographer, and I study lead seals. Lead seals are small lead tags that were attached to a variety of different goods in the colonial period. They're usually put on in Europe, and so a lot of imported goods, when they degrade in the ground, all we have left is the seals to learn about them, especially textiles. So lead seals were used on textiles. They were used to mark bags. They were used to mark bales of goods occasionally. They're often called bale seals because they were used on bales of goods, but their most common use is on textiles in this period. So understanding them can be a little complicated sometimes, and you're working from partial seals that have been found in archaeological context, and so when you actually do identify them, it's really exciting. Lead seals acted a little bit in the way that modern day clothing tags do. They recorded information about where something was made. So if you get a shirt now that says made in Thailand, it's sort of what these seals are saying, like made in Augsburg, made in Leiden. And there would be information on the quality, and there would often be lead seals that record merchant information on who's importing these goods. So they're really a gold mine of information. One of the most common methods for attaching lead seals to textiles is the knob and loop method. In a knob and loop attachment, there is one part of the seal that has a spike that then fits into a hole on the other side of the seal. That spike is forced through the weave of the textile so that you're not damaging the weave of the textile. And then the loop part would be closed over it, and it would be sealed shut with the designs that we see on them today. So right here I have a seal that has broken apart, and you can see what a complete seal might look like. The knob has been depressed a little bit, so it's flat now because it has been used. In blanks it would be a little spike sticking up. And then when it's sealed, it's a little bit more compact, and you just see the two sides with the impressions. And it's very hard for some people to tell how exactly they did attach back then because they look like such a solid, uniform object. There are almost 300 seals here at Jamestown, so my job this semester has been organizing them, rehousing them, doing a typology, taking images of the seals in order to make that typology so I can go through and look at each seal in detail with my macro shots of them. So I'm looking at the motifs on them and organizing them into categories so that when someone comes from the outside to look at this collection, they can easily navigate it and find the seals that they need to look at. Around 20% of the lead seals here seem to be from Augsburg, which is a town in Germany. Augsburg was making a textile that was very popular in the 17th century known as fustian, and they often used the number of seals on a piece to mark the quality of the piece. A piece is a bit of fabric the way it comes off of the loom, so that was sort of the equivalent to a bolt back then. Would be by the piece, is how you'd buy cloth. So in this case, at Jamestown here in Pit 11, we found 4 Augsburg seals together. In doing research on Augsburg, I found that 4 seals attached to one piece was often used to denote a fustian of very high quality. You could have up to 8 seals on a piece for the best quality fustians, but this is still an indicator of the type of cloth and the quality of cloth they're consuming. Fustian is a linen and cotton blend, and we've seen some extant examples in England where it's a fustian petticoat with beautiful embroidery on it. So it's sort of a hint of what they might have been using fustian for here. It's kind of a warmer blend, so maybe for this time of year in the 17th century, fustian would have been perfect. 1 or 2 of the seals here in the collection have little angels on them, and it's quite remarkable. They stand out quite a bit. The angel, interestingly enough, is actually a dyer's seal. It's a seal that would have been used by the dyers in Angel's Alley, which is a street in London that runs up against the Thames. So we can imagine that as people were hanging out their dyed cloth to dry over the river, maybe some fell in or some of the seals fell off. So a lot of mudlarkers along the Thames will actually find these Angel's Alley seals, but we do have some showing up here. So most of the cloth seals in the collection are either British, Dutch, or German, the ones from Augsburg, with some potential outliers that I have yet to investigate. This seal here I'm still working on. I know that it's associated with the Duke of Lennox. This is actually a 6-part seal. It's the only one in the collections here. So it has Lennox written on it with a CH monogram, which might be the inspector that was looking at the quality of the cloth and making sure it was okay to consume and to put into the market. The other part of this is actually the Tudor coat of arms of England, so it's a little interesting. It's probably from the reign of James I. I hope you enjoyed this update on the lead seal collection. Stay tuned for more information as I continue to go through these. I'm really excited to be working with Jamestown and all the wonderful people here, so thanks for watching.